Community College of Beaver County Aeronautical Society to introduce themselves, please.
Hey, I'm Nathan Baskar. I'm the vice president of the CCBC Aeronautical Society. It's great to be back. And thank you for the opportunity again to come talk on the radio.
Good morning. My name is Luke Bovalina. I'm the president of the CCBC Aeronautical Society. I want to start off by saying thank you to Tom Gargaro for guiding us and helping us with this event. He's very knowledgeable. And then we're very excited. Everyone that we've talked to is very excited about this event.
And we are streaming live on our Facebook page, Beaver County Radio, WBVP, WNBA, if people want to watch that as well.
Or make a comment.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right. So, September 13th, our fly-in, drive-in, basically a static airplane show with a lot of classic cars. We have a really big day planned. The weather will be just perfect.
The vortex will be in effect.
Thank you, Frank. And even though I was telling these young gentlemen that, it's not really accurate 10 days out, but I don't need the weather forecast to know the weather that day. So, September 13th, technically it's 10 to 5 at the Beaver County Airport. So we're doing this Air Heritage Aviation Museum in conjunction with the CCBC Aeronautical Society putting this on. We've got a big day planned. It's free to everybody, very, very family friendly. Beaver County Radio will be there.
Absolutely.
Really, you set the atmosphere for everything. You know that, right? With the wonderful music you play and stuff like that. And hopefully throughout the day, maybe some VIPs get some interviews. We've got a lot of local VIPs that are big supporters of Air Heritage Aviation
As long as it's
Museum.
not that Kozak character, we're good.
Yeah,
right, Scott? We don't need that Kozak character around.
So we're really looking forward to a big day that day. If I could at some point, I'd like to go over some of our sponsors.
Yeah, for sure.
First and foremost, Beaver County Radio. I can't express how important it is to us, the support that you folks give to our organization and to this event in particular. The other major sponsor is Visit Beaver County. You guys all know Tony Caltori.
Absolutely.
Him and his team do a wonderful job on, if you want to know what's going on in Beaver County, if you listen to Beaver County Radio and you check out Visit Beaver County, there's not a thing happening in Beaver County that you won't know about. Between the two of you, you guys, do a great job, and so does Tony and Visit Beaver County. And we appreciate both groups being our major supporters. Some other big supporters, of course, the Community College of Beaver County. We are partners with the Community College of Beaver County at Air Heritage Aviation Museum, and we work together all the time, almost daily on stuff. Rochester Machine, Dalton Service Company, Colbert Farm out in New Galilee. This is, I know I've heard you talk about other, I don't want to do promos for other meat places, like Milk Cost Meats or whatever. But if you ever get a chance, you get in touch with Sam Colbert out of Colbert Farms. Really, really get some excellent meat. He's out in New Galilee. And then Bethany DeLuca, the State Farm agent up in Chippewa, a consistent big supporter of Air Heritage Aviation Museum. We've also got Riverside Bed and Breakfast, and they're in Beaver. Is that correct, guys?
Bridgewater.
Bridgewater?
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything you want to say about them? I'm not really that familiar with them.
They're right across from
Scott
where
knows
a couple
about
of the new restaurants are, like that new.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, where Bigham's is, as a matter of fact, and right on. I guess that's is that Riverside Drive?
Riverside Drive,
Bridgewater?
Yeah, and they're a brand new sponsor, so we're really excited to have Riverside Bed and Breakfast, Patriot Home Care, Katie's Corner Super Premium Ice Cream. We also have one of our members named Dale Hoff. Dale is a retired, semi-retired airplane mechanic and also was an FAA inspector. And he's actually one of our sponsors. His company is D.A. Hoth, H-O-T-H, Aviation Consulting, LLC. It's a service disabled veteran-owned small business that he runs, really. And of course he's a veteran. We also have some other, these are kind of lower level but just as important sponsors. First of all, myself and my wife Judith, we're sponsoring in honor of my dad, Major Vincent M. Gargaro, United States Army Air Corps, World War II, and Judith's dad, Master Sergeant Joseph M. Kroll, U.S. Army, World War II, and actually fought in the Battle of the Bulge. Judith's dad did. So we were a sponsor in memory of them. We have another sponsor, one of our members at Air Heritage Aviation Museum, Dr. Robert T. Kip Jones, in memory of his father, Robert T. Jones. We have Captain James Best and family, and is Captain Best an instructor at CCBC?
He's a teacher at CCBC.
Okay, thank you. A flight instructor or?
A ground school teacher.
Ground school instructor, thank you. Another one of our members, Dave Hudnall, in honor of his father, the Kenneth L. Hudnall family, and also our past president, Bill Schillig. He was a sponsor in memory of two of our volunteers that have passed away over the years, Virgil Wyke and Paul Ulrich. I'd also like to, and I know I've heard you say this already, because as you guys know, unless I've got something going on, I'm listening to pretty much every minute that you broadcast, but we're really, really excited that Donna Groom will be singing the Star Spangled Banner, and I think that we're going to plan that right around 10 o'clock, which is the official kickoff. For those who don't know, Donna's a Beaver County resident, lives not too far from me out there, I think out in Darlington, and she currently owns and tours with the Skyliners. She's been with the Skyliners since the early 80s,
Yeah,
I do
for a
believe.
while.
So we're really, really excited. And if you've never heard Donna perform, not only is she a magnificent singer, she can play the keyboard, really, really, really impressive musician. So we're really excited about that. And also this event is kind of Air Heritage Aviation Museum's kickoff for fundraising to try to get our C-123 back in the air. It's called Thunder Pig. It's not flying this past year. We have major, major work to do on it and stuff. So from the Air Heritage Aviation Museum perspective, this is going to kick off our fundraising campaign. So the monies that we profit off of the event on the 13th is all going to go towards getting that plane back in the air next year. It is the last C-123 in the world that flies. We have followers on our Facebook page, aviation fanatics around the world, and they're all saying, hey, how could we help get it back in the air?
Oh, wow.
So,
That's pretty cool.
yeah. And, just one last plug. We also need what's called A&P mechanics, called airframe and power plant. Airframe means they can work on the body. Power plant means they can work on the engine and stuff like that. They're a really, really scarce resource as far as people who know how to work on these old planes. We talk to young folks that just graduated from A&P school, and they look at our planes and they don't have a clue because they're so very, very different, So it's really specialized. So if there's any retired A&P mechanics out there, we're always looking for help there.
Talk about the aviation aspect of it. What are some of the planes that people who come to this will be able to see and kind of check out?
Yeah, why don't one of you two jump in on what you've got lined up?
Yeah, sure. So most of the planes that we'll see at this Fly and Drive event will be people's personal planes. So you get anything from a single-engine Piper Cub, which is a really cool tailwheel aircraft, to maybe a multi-engine Seminole. So you'll see something with two engines. We could get a biplane, like a Pitts. It would be one of those acrobatic planes that you see in the air. So there's a wide variety of just mainly piston-driven aircraft that you're going to see at this. Still a very cool aircraft as well. The flight schools will be all bringing their planes in, so kids of all ages who maybe want to get into flying can possibly see, hey, what kind of flight school do I want to go at? What planes do I want to fly in the future? So it's really a great opportunity for the younger generation, also for people who love planes in general. They're going to see a lot of different types of planes and aircrafts and cars, too, at this event.
And it was the CCBC Aeronautical Society that kind of got this event, I want to say off the ground, pardon the pun, but talk a bit about that. That's it's Nathan and Luke, right? Okay, talk a bit about what the CCBC Aeronautical Society does.
Yeah, so CCBC Aeronautical Society, basically, we're a group of, we're about 75 students for our club. We're just more of a connection-based club. In the aviation industry, everything's all about the connections. So building that connections with our classmates, and then also the connections outside in the real world with aviation people that work in the industry. So a few things that we're doing, we have a a tour of the National Weather Service coming up, and then we also have a tour of the NetJets headquarters tour up in Columbus that we're going to be doing. So just a little bit.
So where did the idea come from to do this event?
The idea, well, actually, me and Nathan, we did a fly-in up in Franklin,
Okay.
and we thought it'd be really cool to bring that to Beaver. You know, we have the Air Heritage Aviation Museum at Beaver. Be a good way to incorporate everybody at Beaver.
And with Tom Gargaro, you know there's going to be cars involved too.
How do you know that, Frank?
just little birdie told me.
Yeah, a lot of history with us
Yeah.
there. You know,
Yeah.
it's I was remiss in mentioning one other sponsor, which is More Aviation. You know, out at the Beaver County Airport, in addition to the Air Heritage Aviation Museum and the Community College of Beaver County Aviation School, right? There's two pilot schools out there. More Aviation, which is actually one of our sponsors, and also ACES Aviation. These are places where a lot of these folks go into college, and private individuals come out and get flying lessons. So they'll have, I think they'll have a table and a tent and one of their planes. If you've never seen what these young folks train in my opinion, I'm used to these real big warbirds, right? These are kind of like really small planes. Very, very safe, but they're trainers. So they'll have a couple of those there for us to see. And then, you know, with the Air Heritage Aviation Museum, we'll have our C-123 Thunder Pig open for tours, static display. We have an OV-1 Vietnam-era plane. We have an F-4 and F-15, all static displays. So, you know, a lot for people to see. One of the things, you guys know this, right? Like classic car people have 1,000 pictures of their car everywhere.
Right.
But very rarely can they take pictures of their car next to old warbirds and
Right.
stuff. So it's really kind of a unique opportunity. I've got people already saying, what time will you open the gate for me and stuff
Boy,
like
They'll
that.
be there 2
Yeah.
hours before that.
You ever watch Billy Madison at the very end where the guy comes in and says Billy Madison, shoots the guy, the criminal? I'm going to say it now. Boy, I'm glad I know that guy because I don't got to wait in line. Because I don't have to wait.
We've actually, got a friend of mine that belongs to the Model A Club.
Okay.
The Model A's, and I'm not an expert, they came after the Model T's, right? The Model A's were made, I think, from 1928 to 1932, so only 4 years. These cars actually can't go over 40 miles an hour. So and they'll all gather somewhere remote from different places, but when they drive somewhere, they can't use the highways because
Right.
they feel it's unsafe for them and for the other cars and stuff. So, there are really no, other than for you, Frank or Scott, you know, there's really no reserve spaces
Right.
like you'll see at some of the
Bigger car cruises,
bigger
yeah.
car
Yeah.
cruises. Bigger is a relative term. We'll
Well,
see.
bigger is in a bigger area like town.
Yeah,
you know,
towns
a
and
town,
stuff like that.
I get it.
But for the Model A Club, because it can take them 2 to 3 hours
Mm-hmm.
just to come from maybe Coriopolis or something. So I mean, I'm going to save a little space for them, maybe 4, 5, or 6 cars. But the rest of it, and it's, you know, this is a different venue, as you know. I understand at the Beaver Falls, New Brighton, Beaver car cruise and stuff like that, everybody wants to get there real early to get their certain spot. This, to me, is more of a venue like Cruising on the Ridge, right? Which, you know, I love. And I mean, you've got such a perfect place for it here. So there's no like preferred parking place. Every place is good. And it's the same thing out there at the museum on the tarmac where we'll be parking all the cars.
Now, will the hangar be open?
Thank you. The hangar will absolutely be open. People can meander through. We'll have volunteers there if they have any questions about that. Our front of the museum, where we have a lot of memorabilia and glass, is there. Some really interesting stuff. And we'll always be there selling our wares, T-shirts and hats and pins and stuff like that.
So, because I mean, you know that, like, you know, Curtis, we gotta take care of him. You know, we can't have him out in the sunshine too long.
yeah, I agree. We'll take care of. Is that who's going to be there? You and
Curtis and I will be there, all day.
Are you going to be able to stop out that day
yeah.
at all, Scott,
Oh, yeah,
or do you
yeah.
have a full day planned already?
I'll be with you. I'm going to come out and
Great.
get my selfie with one of those cool looking planes.
Yeah. You tell me, I'll get you special positioning. You know, so yeah, we're really, really excited as it's getting closer. All the logistics, and anybody who's done these kind of events, right? This is months worth of work that's gone on, not just getting the sponsors, lining up the food vendors. You know, we're going to meet early next week. the three of us, so that they can show me exactly what area they need on the tarmac for the planes. We have to leave like an ingress and egress for them on a taxiway, so that if somebody is there and then they got to leave by noon or something like that. And it's kind of a real logistical challenge to get, I'm thinking 500, 600, 700 cars around there and let those cars be able to get in safely. And those classic cars, you don't park them right next to each other. You got to leave a little space.
Room. Yep.
And so we're going to meet early next week and map that all out. But other than that, I think everything is pretty much ready. Do you agree?
Agreed.
All right, and we here have to thank Falcone's Moon Township Ford as well as CCBC stepping up. They're sponsoring our broadcast out there that day as well. So
that's wonderful. And both CCBC and Falcone, they're such big supporters of so much that goes on in Beaver County.
Absolutely.
So I think it's great that they're the sponsors for that day. That's wonderful.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to that. That's going to be fun. So how many cars are you expecting?
Yeah,
so last time it was lined up pretty good.
Last time we were right near 700.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Funny, and again, because we take up some room with the planes and their exit and entrance there. So there came a point the last time where the cars are just pouring in like all morning, and we're pretty much filling up parking on the tarmac itself on the pavement. But there's a huge field right kind of between us and the community college over there that's dry, it's flat. The grass is cut the day before the event. That that'll be like where our overflow goes. So I guess what I would say is, because I had somebody, I didn't know who they were, coming in, and I said, okay, look, we're going to direct you over there. And they said, well, I'm not going to park my car on the grass. I'd rather park my own car on the grass than on that tarmac. Tarmac gets the sun and heat and stuff.
You would think.
Yeah, but I mean, to each his own. But we'll have plenty of room. So given the good weather, I expect to top 700 cars.
Awesome. It's amazing.
So it's pretty good. And then, combined with being able to see the airplanes that are coming, the private planes, and then all the static displays that we have there. So there's also going to be, I think, like, for example, Community College of Beaver County will have a table set up there. They give away free little things for the kids and stuff like that. Bethany DeLuca from State Farm, talked to her and Kylie over there the other day. They're going to have like a wagon filled with like State Farm branded toys and stuff like that. So I just want to emphasize it's a really, really family-friendly event. Right. It's not just for car lovers, not just for plane lovers. You can come out and spend the whole day there. It doesn't cost you a penny unless you want to buy some food from one of the vendors.
50-50, Chinese auction, anything like that?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Frank. We will not be having a 50-50. It's just so hard to get everybody, as you guys can understand. But we will be having a chance auction that day. We think we're going to have around 20 baskets at least. Some really, really interesting stuff there. There's another group that I do want to mention. It's called the 99s. The 99s is a group, correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, is a group of female pilots. And the story I was told, I said, well, where's the name 99s come from? I'm told the first meeting they had 99 people there. Is that true? Don't know. So it's wonderful that they've created this group. So they're working in partnership with us on the chance auction to help us get baskets and stuff like that. And here's what I'll tell you, even from my days back on the Beaver Falls Car Cruise, right? The small businesses are the ones who support these kind of events.
Absolutely.
I go over to a big box store in Chippewa, and for this event, we typically focus mostly on sponsorships from Chippewa or for an auction basket. And, I come from working for a big company, and it's hard to get to the decision makers. If you go into a Walmart they've got to pass it up like 5 levels, but the small businesses, boy, they just jump in and ante up, and whether they're a sponsor, whether they provide a gift basket, and I'm a firm believer, in supporting small businesses, and they're the ones they're the biggest supporters of these community type events.
Speaking of sponsors and small businesses, we're going to hear from a few of ours. Noah will be in with news headlines, and we'll be back to talk more about the Air Heritage Aviation Museum's Fly and Drive Fest, Saturday, September 13.
We're talking with Art Cornell from Beaver Cemetery. Art, I understand that Beaver Cemetery has some interesting options for families choosing cremation.
We do. You may have parents or grandparents or even great-grandparents buried in Beaver Cemetery. If so, your family has the right of burial as a cremation in any of those plots.
And you have a way to do that families might not know about?
Yes, we do. If your family has an existing gravesite at Beaver Cemetery, you can bury your loved one's cremains on top of a family member at a 77% savings over a traditional burial. This gives families a place to visit and reflect today at a cost that most families can afford.
Cremation burial on an existing plot at a 77% savings? That's a very affordable option.
And remember, everything your family has at Beaver Cemetery, past, present, and future, will be protected by our Perpetual Care Fund.
Thanks, Art. Friends can learn more at beavercemetery.net. Have you ever found something interesting that makes you go, oh? Then tune in every other Tuesday from 5 to 5:30 p.m. on Beaver County Radio for the Oh Show with Orlana Dawkins Drury. Orlana relates her views about informing, inspiring, and entertaining headlines that makes the world go round in interviews with local influencers that make you go, oh. The episode will be on Beaver County Radio Facebook and YouTube pages, so make sure to join the Oh Show with Orlana Dawkins Drury every other Tuesday from 5 to 5:30 right here on 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP.
The Beaver Valley Catholic Prayer Breakfast is Western Pennsylvania's premier gathering for spiritual renewal, fellowship, and evangelization. Join keynote speaker Father Scott Seathaler, guest speaker and state representative Roman Kozak, and Master of Ceremonies Dan Leroy for an uplifting morning that will feed both body and soul. The Beaver Valley Catholic Prayer Breakfast is on Friday, September 12 at St. Monica Church in Chippewa Township. Doors open at 7 a.m. with a delicious plated breakfast served promptly at 7:30. For tickets, call 724-846-7540. All proceeds support Catholic education through the Angel Fund of Beaver County. For more information, call 724-846-7540 or visit the Facebook page for Beaver Valley Catholic Prayer Breakfast.
Put freedom in your future. Freedom United Federal Credit Union in Rochester. Beaver County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and beavercountyradio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning. On this Wednesday, September 3rd of 2025. We will have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. According to a release from Pennsylvania Attorney General Dave Sunday's office, Sunday, in conjunction with federal, state, and local law enforcement partners, announced charges against two people trafficking $110,000 worth of cocaine from out of state to western Pennsylvania. 5 kilograms of cocaine were recovered from a vehicle on Saturday in Beaver Falls after it was stopped by Patterson Township Police, the Pennsylvania State Police, investigators from the Drug Enforcement Administration, and agents from the Pennsylvania Office of Attorney General. 45-year-old Darnell Lawson and 31-year-old Taylor Suggs, both of Ohio, got a charge of felony drug trafficking. The investigation into this incident is ongoing, and $1 million was how much the bail was for each person. A crash occurred in Hanover Township yesterday evening, which caused the Beaver County coroner, David J. Gaybauer, to make an appearance. Beaver County dispatchers told WTAE that crews were called to the scene along Route 30 and Raccoon Park Road just before 7 p.m. yesterday following reports of a crash. Gaybauer responded to the scene of this crash. A fire caused a big hole to be on the roof of a Monaca home yesterday afternoon. The location of the home that caught on fire is within the 100 block of Oak Lane, and according to Beaver County dispatchers, the fire broke out just after 3 p.m. yesterday. The dousing of fire spots was also done by firefighters during this fire. Both the cause of this fire and the injuries that came from this fire are unknown at this time. A fire occurred at Freedom Conway Recycling in Conway yesterday, which spread to multiple vehicles and a pile of tires. Emergency responders worked to put out this fire on a car and worked to put out a fire on a pile of tires on the side of the Freedom Conway Recycling building. The cause of this fire is unknown at this time. Gas prices are 3 cents lower in western Pennsylvania this week at about $3.44 per gallon, according to AAA East Central's gas price report. $3.18 is the national average for a gallon of regular gas, which is the same amount as last week. The report states that at this time a year ago, the average price for a gallon of gas in western Pennsylvania was around $3.62. The report also notes that the average price that you can expect for a gallon of unleaded gas here in Beaver County is about $3.43. Kraft Heinz is splitting into two companies a decade after they joined in a massive merger that created one of the biggest food companies on the planet. One of the companies will include brands such as Heinz, Philadelphia Cream Cheese, and Kraft Mac and Cheese. The other will include brands like Oscar Mayer, Kraft Singles, and Lunchables. When the company formed in 2015, it wanted to capitalize on its massive scale, but shifting tastes complicated those plans, with households seeking to introduce healthier options at the table. Kraft Heinz's net revenue has fallen every year since 2020.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Another lovely sunny day is in store for us. We'll see highs near 82. Mostly clear and mild tonight. We'll drop down to a low around 60. Cloudy and breezy tomorrow with showers and thunderstorms likely off and on throughout the day and evening. Look for highs near 70 and lows around 52. And mostly sunny and breezy on Friday with a chance of rain and thunderstorms in the evening through the overnight. Expect highs near 80 and lows in the mid-50s. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM, AM 1230 WBVP, 95.7 FM, and 1460 AM WMBA. Also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
You're listening to Beaver County Radio, your home for local news, information, and music. Brought to you by Fry Transportation. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, helping to make Beaver County a better place to live, work, and play.
9:36 a.m. Thanks for spending part of your Wednesday morning with us here at the Beaver County Radio Morning Show. Scott Teddy, Frank Sparks, joined in studio by Luke and Nathan from the CCBC Aeronautical Society, as well as Tom Gargaro, talking about the big event Saturday, September 13th, the Air Heritage Aviation Museum's Fly and Drive Fest. Cool cars, cool planes, good oldies music. I'm sure there'll be food, too. Food trucks.
That's what I was going to ask. You know, you got all these cars, all these people. People are going to be hungry. We feeding them?
You think people are going to be hungry?
I think so.
Well, okay.
Especially the workers.
Yeah. Excuse me. So, absolutely. So, a couple places we're going to have. PJ's Deli.
Andrea. Good cooking.
Andrea from New Brighton.
Yeah.
So, they're going to, and what we try to do, anytime I put an event together, you know, Frank, I want the vendors to be very, very successful. I want their customers to be very, very happy. I want an array of food. So, Andrea from PJ's Deli is going to be doing kind of a German theme. So she'll have like pork schnitzel, bratwurst, cabbage and noodles, German potato salad, Kabel rolls, Krautspatzel, pierogies.
Spatzel, yeah.
My whetting your appetite at all, yeah.
You can set it with pierogies and cabbage and noodles.
I love it.
We're done.
Also, somebody I know you knew from the Beaver Falls Car Cruise days, Jay Took with Took's Concessions. Yep. Jay runs what I would call kind of a standard carnival type food trailer, and he'll have Philly cheesesteak, hot sausage, fries. He fresh cuts his fries, hot dogs, hamburgers. He does his own fresh squeezed lemonade, which is always a really, really big hit. There's a new vendor we have this year. I don't know if you guys have run into them. They're called Sip Happens, S-I-P. Sip Happens.
I like it.
And the way they describe it is a unique twist on traditional sodas by combining fizzy beverages with syrups, creamers, and mix-ins. I've actually tried them, And so you might want to get a Coke with like an orange infusion. This is all non-alcoholic,
Right.
you know, and they've got a wide variety of things that you can kind of custom make and say, I'd like to try a Coke with cherry and vanilla and orange, and then they'll just mix it up for you. It's really, really tasty. Something really unique.
Some good sip there.
Yeah, some good.
You know what they used to call that at Jerry's when they did that, don't you?
What was that?
Suicides.
Oh yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Mix all the pops.
Oh, okay.
All the different flavors of pops. They call it a suicide.
Is that right?
Yeah, Jerry's curb service for
Well,
years.
you know, we used to do that when we were younger. We'd mix them all together, and it ended up, to me, tasting almost like bubble gum or something like that. Odd the way they do it, but this is really, really a neat custom thing. And then there's a place I really want to highlight. It's been there for a year or two up in Chippewa. They're on Shenango Road, and it's called Le Petit Bakery and Cafe. And I brought you some of their stuff to sample
you did.
today.
Beignets, yes.
So, have any of you sitting in this room ever been to France?
No.
No. Frank, you
seen
don't
it on-
fly much.
I've seen it on TV.
You've flown once in your life, if I remember correctly,
That's it.
right? And that was not a pleasant.
I've been to New Orleans. I've had the beignets in New Orleans, Cafe Du Monde.
If I was meant to fly, I'd have wings.
I hear you. So Judith and I have been to France many times, and I am like a pastry fanatic. Okay, and they have pastries that no place in America can compare to. Every day. When we're in France, anywhere in France, we go to the pastry shop, right? And then when we're ready to come home, I'll buy like 12 because I love them so much. Well, they don't keep, and I can't eat 12 anymore, you know. But they do everything they do is baked fresh from scratch, okay? And if you get a chance to taste what I brought in today, like their crust on their croissants and stuff is to die for. It's just really, really perfect. So, again, a brand new vendor for us.
It's a family-owned business too, husband and wife.
It really is.
Yeah.
Terry and Nicole, I think it is. And so, I mean, I'd urge people to stop. They have like breakfast sandwiches. They have coffee, drinks, lattes, and stuff. I think they're open till like 2 or 3. You know, they're more a morning, noontime crowd. But like if you like a bacon, egg, and cheese croissant or something like that. So they're going to have, my understanding, they're not going to have like baked sandwiches like bacon, egg, and cheese. They're going to have pastries there. But I would urge everybody, if you have anything near a sweet tooth, to try their pastries. And even if you don't like the sweet part of it, you'll love the pastry. So
Yes, the Petite Bakery.
yeah, and I haven't finalized this yet, but we might also have pizzas for sale, but I haven't quite finalized that
All
yet.
right.
Just we like to have a variety so that, you know, and it's really a balance when you do these events, right? Because you want the vendors to be very, very successful. Like I talked to one vendor a while back, and they said, just have me. I'll be the only. Then you're going to have 100 people waiting in line. So I want the vendors to be successful, but I also want it to be a good customer experience so that maybe they have to wait 5 or 10 minutes in line. But I want enough vendors there. And as it gets closer and I start seeing really what the weather is going to look like, I know what the crowd's going to be. The last time we did this, in addition to almost 700 cars, we had somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 visitors that came just to spend the day. So, I'll probably add the pizza group just so that people have more of a variety and people aren't standing in line.
To me, that's one of the coolest things about the Air Heritage Aviation Museum's Fly and Drive. It's a reason for people to go to the Beaver County Airport. I think it's an underrated gem in some senses, that airport itself. Anytime you're driving out in Chippewa, you're going down Darlington Road, you see a plane flying overhead, whether it's a Piper Cub or a Cessna or whatever like that, and just, you know, it's a utilized facility. But here's a reason for people like me who don't have a plane to go walk around and see, you know, just what a vibrant part of the community it is.
Absolutely. You know, if I remember correctly, and last year earlier this year on History Weekend with the Beaver County History Landmarks Research Foundation with Brenda Applegate, we have a history weekend, right? And it was the theme this year was generally Beaver County history. So we did a thing. Judith actually did all the research on. There used to be an airport in Patterson Heights. There was an airport in Conway.
Hopewell had one too.
Hopewell, one in Aliquippa. There were all these small airports. Most of them went out of the business in the late 50s. And I do believe Beaver County Airport was built around 1961. And Scott, I completely agree with you. Our good friend, the manager out there, Tim Nestor, and all the folks on the Airport Authority Board, working together with a huge input from the Community College of Beaver County. You know, they're building a brand new terminal out there, right? And it's going to be a 2-story terminal. My understanding is, you know, part of it will be for the college, part of it will be for the airport. You know, the college over there is one of the premier pilot training places in the United States. They have pilots in every major airline. They are also the premier air traffic control school, and they're in every tower in every major airport. So the plans and the hope are to build a brand new tower. In addition, they've already demolished the old building and for the terminal, and they're starting to build a new one. But yeah, it really is a hidden gem. You've got these pilot schools out there. You've got another place called AirQuest. If you come in and you're looking at the front of our building, they're over there to the right, kind of behind the college. AirQuest services high-end planes. These Cirrus planes and stuff come in. Like, they make planes. I'm no plane expert, right? They make planes that the plane itself has a parachute. So if something goes wrong, it'll let the whole plane softly come down to the ground.
Sounds like my kind of plane.
Yeah, it's my understanding if you ever have to deploy that, the plane is pretty much done.
Right.
You know, but I mean, what's it?
I'm still alive, though.
Yeah. So they
Right.
service that. They service a lot of helicopters. Like, there's a lot of helicopters with the environmental agencies and stuff like that, whether they're spraying for mosquitoes or stuff like that. So you see, you know, high-end planes and helicopters taking off over there and landing all the time. It really is like an aviation neighborhood is what I call it out there. And Air Heritage Aviation Museum, we're proud to be a part of that group.
Okay, we're going to go to another break. We'll be back more talking about the Air Heritage Aviation Museum's Fly and Drive Fest.
Are you a fan of the historic high school sports history that we have in Beaver County? Beaver County Radio and the Fried Transportation Group are proud to introduce Way Back When every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Beaver County Radio will rebroadcast a classic high school game in its entirety. You'll hear the call of famous Beaver County Radio sports broadcasters from the past and present as they take you way back when. Tune in this Sunday, September 7th at 8 p.m. when we go way back to the 2000 Class 1A Whippeal Championship, in which Rochester and their first-year coach Gene Matsuk took on the Monaca Indians at Three Rivers Stadium. Way Back When is presented by the Fried Transportation Group and brought to you by East Rochester and Tusca Shop and Save, the East Rochester True Value, Dr. C. Timothy Lipp, Beaver Falls Athletic Department, and Beaver County Radio.
If you own a company or a small business, you might have considered advertising on radio. It's smart because radio is still the most far-reaching media outlet today. WBVP and WMBA can get you results. Get more information at beavercountyradio.com.
Patriot Home Care is now hiring caregivers. Are you a caring and compassionate individual looking for a reliable income with benefits? Then call Patriot Home Care today. Benefits include health insurance, life insurance, paid vacation after 1 year, and 1.5 times hourly pay for overtime plus holiday hours. Patriot Home Care employees provide personal care, conversation and companionship, medication reminders, light housekeeping and laundry, meal preparation, and errands. Start your career in home care today and call Patriot Home Care at 724-506-8911 or apply online at patriothomecare.org.
Tune in every Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. for another insightful edition of Living Well, a special segment on Beaver County Radio designed to help you enjoy the best, most fulfilling, and healthiest life possible. Hosted by Dr. Joseph Maroon and Jeff Boast, and presented by St. Barnabas. Living Well, Saturday mornings at 8:30. Right here on Beaver County Radio, WBVP Beaver Falls, WMBA Ambridge, along with 99.3 FM and 95.7 FM.
St. Barnabas thanks you for listening to Beaver County Radio.
9:48 on the nose. Scott Teddy, Frank Sparks here with the Beaver County Radio Morning Show, joined in studio.
The funny when we're all on camera, we all know as soon as you come back, we all hurry up and sit back on our seats. We're all slouching, and all of a sudden we sit up because we know we're on camera.
I'm going to turn it on early one day and everyone will get a good look at
Good idea.
See us
what our
slouching
posture's
around.
really like. Yeah, we're having fun though, talking about the Air Heritage Aviation Museum's Fly and Drive Fest and the museum itself, and that's open, regular hours. What are some of the things people see in the museum?
Yeah, so, I've been involved actively over there for about 5 years. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 5. except for holidays. We have so many artifacts. We're actually a restoration facilities. We have 2 planes, fabric planes, that have a metal structure, but the covering is fabric, being restored, an old Funk and an old Fairchild. There is a lot of memorabilia out in the front area in the museum of aviation history. We've also got, back in the day, there was a place called the U.S. Air Federal Credit Union up in Moon Township. If you ever walked in there, there was a plane hanging in there. I can't remember what it's called, but it was a model plane, but a pretty big model plane. And that plane, not that itself, but the real plane, it used to be used for airmail. And what they would actually do is the plane would fly by and have a rope hanging from it with a hook.
Oh.
And there was like a contraption on the ground, believe it or not, where they would put the mail bag, and that plane would fly by and just hook the mail bag and take off. So we have stuff like that. We have a small sort of half cockpit plane that kids can get in and play around and pretend they're driving. We also have a 1956 Army Jeep that we take to a lot of parades. I think it was in the military, in the Midland Parade and stuff like that. So there's a lot to do out there. We get, in the last 2 months, just to give you a flavor, we've had people from 24 states and 7 countries come. We also belong to a group called Harvest Host. Harvest Host is for like RVers. And so it's an online group where they want to park their RV for the night. Now, we don't have any hookups, electric or water, but they just look for like a nice, safe, quiet space. So we're a member of Harvest Host. They'll come in and they book online, and Judith kind of handles that. And they book online, and they'll, it's very safe. The police station's half a mile away. They can walk to Sal's if they want, or to Walmart. I mean, everything's very convenient. So we get a lot of people come through the museum there. And usually, if they don't get there while we're open that evening, they stay around until the next morning because they want to come through. They always make a nice contribution and stuff like that. So a lot to see at Air Heritage Aviation Museum.
Cool.
A lot to see there.
It's going to be a fun day. That's for sure.
Yeah. So as far as visitor parking, when you come into the front, we're very, very lucky. The local Civil Air Patrol Squadron, and they're a very, very dedicated group. They will be handling all the parking for us, for the visitors. So the main parking lot that's paved there right in front of the museum will be pretty much for disabled parking, and then the rest of the parking will go on the front half of the field over there to the right. So they'll handle all the logistics. They'll handle directing the traffic, which cars go where, and stuff like that. And they've done it every time in the past for us. They do a fantastic job. They will have probably a dozen people there, some adults, some teenagers, and they just do a wonderful job of handling all those logistics.
So make sure you flash your VIP badge at them, all right? Or else you're going in the field, Tatey.
Yeah. See, all you got to do when you come in is say, "Oh, I know Luke or Nate."
I might try
I
that.
don't know. Maybe you ought to. Maybe you ought to use my name. But we'll get you a good spot. But I did want to mention, if I could, a couple other events coming up. So if I heard correctly, our friend Chuck Sargent's coming on, I don't know, after us sometime here.
He's very next.
He's next.
Yep.
So on September 20th, he's putting on, my term, not his, what I would call a military expo.
That's what they're calling it.
Yeah, and there's this is really going to be an interesting day, and Chuck will expound on that more. That same day, the Air Heritage Aviation Museum is going to be having a hangar sale. We have so many artifacts and memorabilia. We don't have near the room to display them. And there's some of them that really aren't germane to our mission. So there's like some old radios from airplanes that we'll never use. There's a lot of different stuff. There's plaques and badges and pins and stuff. We got a donation from one of our members who passed away up in New York, Major Quigley. He sent us a pallet of pins and patches and stuff like that. Some of those, worth $5. Some are worth a couple $100. They're pretty rare and stuff. So that'll be going on the same day as the Military Expo. But I would encourage everybody to come out to see the Military Expo, because it's going to be something you don't get to see very often. And again, Chuck will tell you, I think he has a couple really interesting flyovers happening that day. So that's happening that day. Then if I could, on October 4th, Community College of Beaver County is doing their annual Touch a Plane event. Really a beautiful event. It's really the college's event. We just support them with it. It's a very, very family-friendly day. A lot of people come out. They'll have their simulators there. Really a big hit, right? For maybe you guys it's like work if you have to sit at a simulator. But the computer ones, you know, I mean, young and old, they can sit down and I know they can do it. I guess they can do it on video games today. My son says they can. But here you've got like professional people standing next to you saying, well, you know, turn this way or do this or whatever you do to fly the plane and stuff. So that's October 4th. And then for the first time in about 5 or 6 years, Air Heritage Aviation Museum is going to have what we call a hangar dance. This went on for many, many years before COVID hit, and it hasn't been on since COVID. So we're going to have when I say an oldies band, a band that plays 40s and 50s music. They're called New Vintage, I think, is the name, and they're from down around Washington, PA. And it's kind of a theme dance. So a lot of times if you go to an air show, and up in Reading they have this big air show, they call it World War II weekend, okay? So on Friday night they have like a 40s dance. And there are 300, 400, 500 people, mostly their age, who come out dressed in 40s stuff.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So that's kind of the theme of this hangar dance. And, you know, it'll be catered. And as soon as we get the flyer finished, I'll send it to you. If you could help broadcast it, we'll broadcast it too. And, you know, I'm sure you guys will help too. So really, really neat event that hasn't happened in a long time. There will be just nothing but a fun and relaxing evening. So, and that'll be on November 8th. We picked that date because that's the weekend closest to Veterans Day. And, you know, we're always about honoring as many, all the veterans and stuff like that. So, some really busy fall coming up out there at the airport. And again, the Airport Authority Board and the manager, the director out there, Tim Nestor, they're so supportive of everything everybody does out there. So please, if you're looking for some fun things to do, that's the place to go this fall.
I'm glad we're doing these things because, Scott, if you remember back in the day, you know, there used to be an air show every year at the airport, and that kind of went away. And then, you know, when you started Wheels and Wings, that was like really the first time there was a huge event back at the airport. So, I mean, it's kind of cool that those events are coming back to the airport. I'd like to see a day where we get a big plane show like that again, like we used to have back in the day.
Yeah, and I'm working on that. And I've actually talked to Chuck Sargent about that. You know, you get one of the things that limits us out there is the length of our runway. Okay, so there's only so many planes that can land out there. But between getting planes to land and having people look at them and also getting planes flying over, which to me I think is the last time we had the Wings and Wheels. There's a gentleman, I don't know his name, he has a Stearman out there at the airport. And I think it's like a biplane. It's a red biplane, and it like blows that smoke out. And so he was just on his own, just up there twirling around, and everybody there is, you know, looking up. So it's something I hope to get to in the future, to do an actual air show there. I've been very, very lucky over the last handful of years to go to pretty much every air show, not even in a tri-state area, in the Northeast United States. And like some of them, they have these, I don't know, they're like F-22s or something like that. These planes blow my mind, right? They come in like this is like a modern jet. It comes in like this, it almost stops, and it goes like this, straight up.
Cool.
Like you watch it. And so I'd love to, that's one of my, you know, when you're in business, you have a 1, 3, 5 year plan. You know, that's gone from my 1 year plan to my 3 year plan. But hopefully we get a nice big air show back sometime soon.
I remember the time the air show, they had the B-2 Spirit, the stealth bomber in Beaver County. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. And remember the time the plane went off the runway too?
Don't remember that.
Oops. That was called the 909, right?
Yep.
And actually, and I'm not sure what year that was. It was in the 90s, I think, Frank. And when that plane ran off the runway, they kept it there at Beaver County Airport for about a year because our volunteers repaired it.
Right.
You know, unfortunately, I think it was a B-17, I think. Maybe.
Didn't that one end up eventually perishing?
Yeah, a couple years ago up in Connecticut, it tragically met its end. And that's one of the real challenges in flying much, much older planes. You know, we come under the guise of the FAA, and that's really why our C-123 is grounded this year, because we asked them to come in and review our maintenance program, and we really had to make some significant changes. But and there used to be, and I don't know if it went on this year, there was an air race over there in Nevada somewhere. I don't know if it was Reno, I think. And these planes would actually come down, and they would time them to see who could fly the fastest in them. And there was an accident there in the last year or two. So every time there's another accident with old planes, naturally you get more scrutiny. But the goal always is, safety first.
Okay, we literally have 1 minute left to talk about. Let's do a quick recap of the Air Heritage Aviation Museum's Fly and Drive Fest next Saturday, the 13th, 10 a.m., Beaver County Airport. What do people need to know?
Right. So there's going to be cars, planes. Obviously, Beaver County Radio will be there with oldies music. We love that. There's going to be a chance auction as well. We have a lot of baskets, a lot of cool stuff in there. And if you're a pilot who's considering coming to this event, please RSVP your aircraft. You can do that by scanning the QR code on the event flyer. You can find that on the Air Heritage Aviation Museum's Facebook page, on our CCBC Aeronautical Society Instagram page as well. Scan the QR code so we can save you a spot. And bring your friends, bring your family. It's going to be a big day. You don't want to miss it.
Well done. In 1 minute. That was a great recap.
Yeah, pretty good. And I hope to hear at least one George Thorogood song that day.
Count on it. Well, Tom, you guys, thank you so much for spending time with us, and it's going to be a great event. We're looking forward to it as well.
Thank you so very much. Thank you.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas. In addition to